This video is very much not planned, but when you see a headline like this from Racing Games GG, the F1 Manager Series is reportedly no more, with Frontier not releasing a game in 2025. I had to come on and make a video. I say it's unplanned because as I sit here, I am literally packing and getting ready to go to the airport later today. I'm recording this very early in the morning before even 9 a.m. I'm going to the airport later to go to Vegas. So this is so unplanned, but I had to make a quick video on this because I've literally got an F1 Manager 24 career episode coming out tomorrow, and it would be so just silly for me not to have addressed it and just have these pre-recorded career modes go out and none of this rumor news is coming out. So we're going to quickly discuss it. So yeah, Racing Games GG here with an article yesterday. This was last updated at 4 p.m. yesterday, November 19th. Reportedly cancelled F1 Manager 25, no game in 2025. This is from a Reddit post that seems to stem from an investor analysis of Frontier devs and states Frontier will not release F1 Manager 2025. Racing Games GG has requested a comment from Frontier regarding this, so this is still not completely confirmed, and we will await news from Frontier. I hope that they can respond and give some clarity just so that we can get either a sigh of relief or some closure on the matter. But this is, before I go through the rest of this article, so this Reddit user's posted in the F1 Manager subreddit, basically. This is a Zeus research investors analysis. So this isn't directly from Frontier. This is an investor analysis. So this is kind of just like a business investigation piece and research for potentially just, informing people about how this company's going to do, how other companies will do. I assume basically, Zeus Capital, their kind of, remit will be doing these kind of analysis of different companies to kind of aid their clients or aid whatever. So this is not coming straight from Frontier because Frontier will have their own sort of thing. And, one of the mods on the subreddit said this is not a confirmation because if you look at this is an actual report from Frontier. This is their annual report and accounts 2024. We haven't seen an official document like this anywhere that's saying F1 Manager 25 is cancelled, directly from Frontier. This is from simply an investment analysis paper on the company. But they go on and talk about outlooks and forecasts for Frontier. The latest installment of F1 Manager 24 was released in July and has just over 2K reviews on Steam, which are 66 positive. I want to say this out and out. F1 Manager 24 so far has been the best game of the series, no doubt, and has been the best F1 game that is released in 2024. It is beaten at F1 24 for me personally. It is giving me levels of enjoyment so much higher than F1 24 so far this year. So this is going to be a real shame if it's going to come to an end. I mean, originally, let's remember, Frontier's original contract with F1 to license F1 to make manager games was for 4 manager games through to 2025, 22, 23, 24, 25, subject to achievement of certain financial performance thresholds. This is reported, by Eurogamer. This was back in 2020. I remember this article, actually, because I think I delved into it when the game was coming out. So it was always subject to certain financial performance thresholds to actually keep this going. And you got to also remember, Frontier probably is paying a lot to license F1. The F1 license is probably quite pricey. I mean, we've seen before. I mean, we've seen recently, EA was it's not worth to license FIFA anymore to make their games. But the difference there is that they've been doing it for so long that they have become so synonymous with football. And the problem is football has a lot of sub-licenses. So they license individual teams directly from the teams or the leagues themselves. Whereas F1 has a complete monopoly on their sport. You can maybe license one car, but I don't think you'll ever get away with licensing 10 F1 teams individually to therefore have an F1 game licensed kind kind of, content, basically. We've seen individual licenses, like iRacing is licensed an old Mercedes car or whatever, but I don't think F1 would ever allow an EA-style thing where you're licensing enough teams for it to still kind of feel like a full F1 game, basically. So there's a lot of things here. Of the original contract for Frontier and F1 was always subject to certain financial performance thresholds. Then you've got the added in, you've got to also factor in Frontier probably is paying a lot to get the license, so they're in the red, and this is what shows it here, is the series has not been a major success for Frontier, as covered in previous Zeus research, with the company already have made the decision to expense rather than capitalize future development costs. The cumulative cash flow chart in some exhibit they're showing in this article is still negative cash flow overall for the F1 Manager series. So after 31 May 2024, before signing the accounts on 10th of September, commercial discussions with an IP partner you would assume would be Formula One management, the IP partner, resulted in the voluntary termination of a contract for a future game before full development started. So how that reads is commercial discussions before September 10th with FOM resulted in them voluntarily terminating the contract that they had with F1, and maybe F1 were happy to also do it because they weren't seeing financial gain on it, or they weren't seeing the targets being met, basically, that they stated. So the company is confirmed relates to F1 Manager 25. So this apparently says they've confirmed that it relates to F1 Manager 25, but then you've still got, Racing Games GG still reaching out to Frontier for comment. So I'm gonna still say it's rumored. Let's see, but this seems pretty damning and confirming from this investors analysis. How reliable this company is, who knows? But this is basically saying the series is done. There'll be no more game. The mod for this subreddit thinks otherwise, obviously because of this article, and we haven't seen any official word from Frontier. But as we go on through the rest of the Racing Games GG article, this basically just kind of is summing up what we just read in that one, and does mention the update 1.9. So I talked about update 1.9 recently that came out just on Monday, and it's so ironic and funny and sad in a way. Tomorrow's, if I remember correctly, tomorrow's manager episode that's going out on the channel, that for the first time we're playing the game with update 1.9, and spoiler alert, we do actually get to try out a lot of the new features. Let's go through that. We already did this before, so I'll skim through it. Obviously, 5 new features in F1 Manager 24. Pit lane starts, a whole new feature. Driver development, where you can ask drivers to stop their overall rating developing, and they're going to develop the car instead. Really, really clever. They should 100%, by the way, EA, take notes from this entire article, please. You need to be implementing all of this into future My Team career modes. Team suitability, so talking about, signing drivers and actually having better info about whether they're going to be suitable for you. You've got silly season as well, so emails about contract rumors and proper F1 pandemonium over the summer, signings, and then engine payments being spread out over the year rather than in a lump sum. And at the time, I said the words in my video covering this update that, wow, GG's, kudos, EA, take note. This is a dev that is bringing 5 major features that would be so easy to delay into next year's game, but they're doing it in an update, a juicy update in November of the game cycle. Well, it was too good to be true, wasn't it? It was too good to be true. Of course, they're bringing these updates in this year onto this year's game because there may not be a game next year to bring these updates to. So they probably fast-tracked these updates into this year's game, which is still great of them. It's awesome to have these things because they're so good. But it's just sad. It's sad. Obviously, not to be it's not confirmed fully yet by Frontier, but to give now my opinion on it, that was the reporting of what we know from the reports. My opinion, I'm a bit numb right now. I feel like next year, when we get to the summer and there's only F1 25 out, I feel like then I'm going to start being very sad and annoyed that there's no manager game. And look, as I said, there are many factors and there are many, things that you can very logically say, oh, there's, that you can see why the game's gonna get cancelled. The series will get cancelled. I can see that, you know, as much as there's an emotional tie of them wanting to keep making this game for years and years and years. I know business is business, and, you know, they're probably paying a lot to F1, and they've sunk a lot of costs to pay F1 for the license. In turn, the game itself hasn't made back the money it cost to get the license. They haven't met certain targets for F1 and themselves to be like, yeah, cool, GG's. They want to focus back on what they do best, which is like games like Planet Coaster, Jurassic World, Evolution, etc., and actually start to make profit again, make back money on all the projects they're doing, because as that report said, they're still in the red with the manager game. Manager games are a niche within a niche already, so it was always going to be tough. You know, the audience for F1 games, the EA F1 games, is already minusculely tiny compared to the behemoths of EA FC or other sporting titles, or just other major game franchises that are not even in sports titles. The manager game sits even smaller. Like, I know there are so many people that didn't play F1 Manager 22, 23, 24, and still, even when I put videos out, you know, when the game was coming out early in the summer, you know, reporting about the new gameplay, some people going, oh, go back to playing F1 23, I don't like this. Like, cool, there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I want to drive, but there are also a smaller group of people that are nerds like me. They appreciate the craft of a manager game. I have always enjoyed manager games like this for F1. Going back to 2016, Motorsport Manager, even before that, Motorsport Manager on mobile, and then in F1 in 2016, there was Motorsport Manager PC, and hopefully a lot of you guys that used to watch me back then and those Motorsport Manager videos are tuned into this video, because it might be of interest, obviously, to you guys. And if you have been with me since then, you'll know those days. You'll know how much of a nerd I am for these manager games, and I appreciate the viewers that tune in, because all of you guys that do tune in for the manager stuff, you're just like me. You appreciate the nerdy side of our sport, and you really like to delve into the nerdy side when it comes to the gaming. You know, when you want to play a game, yes, you may like to do the driving, but at the same time, you like all the manager stuff. I've always liked manager games. You know, you can just get really in depth, the nuts and bolts of managing a team, etc. And as much as I love it, and as much as you guys who tune into the manager videos love it, you also just have to, you know, be truthful of it is a smaller subsection within already a smaller subsection. So it's always hard to get off the ground. Like, just take Motorsport Manager. They made one PC game and then literally said out and out it was so expensive to make and wasn't worth their investment time that they never made any sequels. They made sequels of their mobile games, but they never did for PC because it wasn't worth the investment. To make, because there's not enough players playing it to do it. And then Frontier came along, official licensed F1 game. So I thought, okay, great. Then it's on different platforms. It's on Xbox and PlayStation and PC, but it still didn't do enough to be to keep going, which is a shame. And within the game launching, there are factors that you can point to of, you know, obviously F1 Manager 22. Obviously, the first installation, you got to give them a bit of, you know, leeway of it's the first game they make. But they abandoned development on that quite early, or like support on it, wasn't it? Quite early on. 23 very much was almost more of the same with 22, apart from maybe I feel like the racing was a lot better. Like the managing the races were a lot better. But it wasn't a huge step change from 22 to 23. So very much like in the EA F1 games, where F1 22 was so shocking that it burnt the trust for enough people to buy F1 23. Even though F1 23 arguably is, in my opinion, one of the strongest games in the franchise, with the racing being so great. You know, it still has a good, solid My Team from previous years, etc., etc. I've said this all before in videos, but F1 22 burned the trust so much that people aren't, you know, they need so much to convince them to get back into future installations. And I feel like that's what's happened with the manager game, is people got burnt a little bit with their trust with how the support was on 22. Then 23, the step change wasn't big enough. So even though 24 is a huge leap and bound, we have creator team, we have all these different features that come with it. We have now 5 new features that have come in recently with 1.9, but probably fast tracked from next year. It's not enough. It's not enough. Even though F1 Manager 24 is the best game they've made so far, it is better than F1 24 as an F1 game. It is. Just flat out it is. I don't care if you like driving or whatever. It is a more fun game. There are way more features. There are about probably 25 extra features that F1 Manager now has. It's more of a shame because, like I said, I may be repeating myself, because I know the business side of it. I can see why they're going to have to cancel it, but I don't want them to, because it's such a fun game to play. It's so nice to have a different style of F1 game to play. As just a gamer, I'm not even talking as a content creator. I'm just talking as a player. It's so nice to have a different style of gameplay where you can maybe do it on the go, or you can do it, without having to set aside time to get the wheel out, or, whatever. And then as a content creator, it's been great to have a different outlet where, you guys have seen it with the videos. They're a lot more, it's a different vibe, it's a bit more chilled out. I'm live commentating it. We can make the episodes nice and long, and you guys can have something to watch whilst you, I don't know, have some food or whatever. Or you're on a long journey, or it's a very different vibe to the other videos that I can make on the main F1 game, and it's been such a nice creative outlet and difference, and it's such an open game with modding as well that it's so fun to play around with as a creator with different liveries, etc. But maybe it. I mean, I hope this is now a chance for modders to step up and basically turn F1 Manager 24 into passion project of can we keep life going in this last installation, just like people did with Motorsport Manager. People were making mods of Motorsport Manager. They're still making mods of Motorsport Manager for current years of Formula One. So maybe that's what F1 Manager 24 will become. It will just become like a game where people make loads of mods to continue the lifespan of it. But all I'm saying is F1 25 has to hit. If there's no manager game, F1 25 has to hit. Otherwise, it's a even longer gaming year than it has been this year or the previous year. And this is a message to EA and Codemasters. Probably they're not going to be watching this video or watching to this point, but maybe some of you can tweet them this video and this timestamp from here on out. This is my message to EA. Look over at this article. Look at this article. Okay, and I know implementing features in a manager game is maybe an easier job than your game, because the manager game, you don't have a player inputting a drive to do it. But still, you should be looking at articles like this and going, this is what we need to implement. We need to have things like pit lane start. We need to have things like, imagine in my team, you could tell your teammate, if they're a high enough rating, stop growing as a driver, work on the car so they boost their R&D by ×2. Or if you've got an F2 teammate, you tell them, no, don't focus on R&D, focus on yourself. So their growth times by 2, but they score no R&D, and it's down to you to earn R&D. That would be incredible. You've then got team suitability. Tell me more info about signing drivers to my team, or just give me emails about silly season. Give me rumors. Again, bang on about this. Give me good driver transfers. Give me more than just 3 transfers in a season, for God's sake. And give me emails about the rumors in the silly season. It's such a big part of Formula One, and yet we have none of it in the main EA F1 game. It pisses me off. There's so many open goals that EA are missing. You know what? I said I'm feeling numb. Maybe I'm not feeling numb anymore. Maybe I'm feeling very irked that this is happening, because, long 2025 ahead, is it? Maybe. Let's see. Anyway, it's getting on through 9 a.m. I need to continue packing. So, yeah, that's been this video. Really hope that F1 Manager is not cancelled, but we'll see. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll catch you guys around. Goodbye.